not severe here, but we're watching it because our models are telling us that we're going to see thunderstorms increase in a lot of coverage here the next couple hours. So right now near Covington and Garber, Highway 74, thunderstorm here that's trying to come up. It's kind of stabilized right now. We'll come back to Corey in just a second, but let's go to Steve Johnson. He's now in the North Metro looking at all these. You can see all these clouds from the Oklahoma City Metro. You can see the supercell over Hydro, and you can see off to the north some of the clouds beginning to kind of join up in northern parts of the state. Steve Johnson in the Interceptor. Okay, we'll get back with Steve here in just a moment, but again, the tornado warning does continue for Caddo, Custer, Blaine, and Ouachita County.
Steve Johnson, we're pitching to you if you can clear that menu for me.
So come back here to links, and again, this is showing northern Oklahoma. This is not the area where the tornado warning is.
Stand by, I'm going to tell him again. Stand by, Steve.
There's Kingfisher, you're fine. Oklahoma City is behind me. That's fine. And here's the tornado warning cell. That's just between Weatherford and Hydro right now. Let's go back to Steve Johnson. You can see all these clouds all over the metro, and there's going to be a lot more the next couple hours. Go ahead, Steve. Okay, we'll come back to him here in just a little bit. So here we go. Again, here's the tornado warning. So Weatherford, tornado precautions. With any luck, it's going to pass off to the east of you, but the circulation is just now about 1.5 miles off to the west of Hydro. So kind of tight-knit community here. Hydro, got some heavy rain, some hail with this. There is lots of rotation. It's getting closer to the ground. Let's go to Corey Inman. He's been watching this basically since its birth near Thomas. It's moving really slowly, and now almost taking more of a due south turn the last couple scans. Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, it's not moving much at all, Aaron. We're still here sitting at, we're at I-40 and 58, and looking, this is going to be right over Hydro, maybe just a 1/2 mile to the west of Hydro. And I zoomed in here so you can see, you know, we've got scud going from left to right, we've got scud going from right to left, and then it's all just kind of lifting right there from the center to the right side of the shot. So structurally, this thing's very, very impressive, and the rotation just continues to increase as it approaches I-40. We're maybe, I'm going to say this is a 1/2 mile to the north of I-40, just on the west side of Hydro right now, Aaron.
Rain-free base, for sure. That's the air and the wind moving upward, preventing raindrops from falling. We're looking at your stream. It looks like there's something in the middle and on the right-hand side that's a little bit lower right there. What areas that we're seeing right now are we most concerned about in this? So kind of take us out there and let us know what.
Yeah, you were talking about the area there kind of in the middle of the shot that is, you know, it's, sorry, Aaron. You were talking about the area there in the center of the shot that is kind of lowered. That actually lowered, and it's shooting scud back to the right, and that's the area where we have the scud that's coming in from the north that is being pulled into there, and it's all spinning. So from the center of the screen, your clouds are going left to right, and on the right side of the screen they're going right to left, and it's being pulled up right there between the two lowerings. So you know, that's where the most intense rotation is. If I look off to the left, that's pretty flat, rain-free, and then we've got all the rain and the hail that is just to the right. I can zoom out here and you can see the rain and the hail shaft that is off to the right here. So the main center of circulation is going to be almost right on top of I-40 on the west side of Hydro.
Hydro is, I mean, we're looking at radar. It looks like about 1.5 miles to 2 miles really from what we're seeing here, folks in Hydro.
Yeah, I'm just southeast of Hydro, just south of I-40 here at the intersection. This is going to be maybe a 1/2 mile, 3/4 of a mile to the west of Hydro, and almost on top of I-40. So if it stays on the path that it's on right now, Aaron, it should stay to the west of Hydro, which is good. Go in between Hydro and Weatherford, but it's really close. You know, if for some reason it was to turn to the east, it would take it right into Hydro. But right now, it looks like it's going to stay to the west of Hydro.
Got the latest radar scans right here on links. It looks like it's now about jumping I-40. So getting scans here very quickly. So this is Hydro. The red is, you know, that's velocity or movement from east to west, and the green is from west to east. So we kind of look at this here. This is wind moving this direction, and there's a lot more of this green that's moving this direction. So it's still not really tight. The red and the green aren't exactly touching right now, but boy, they're close. And the this is low-level rotation. So it's not, thousands of feet up in the air. This is pretty close to the ground. So the way it looks right now, it looks like hydro is going to miss the biggest of the circulation. And, of course,
Hey, Steve, what's your current location?
residential areas off to the east of Weatherford proper, these areas certainly need to be in their tornado precaution right now because that rotation is basically right overhead. The broad low-level rotation is right overhead. So we are talking about the tornado threat that continues, but also the very large hail threat. It does have hailstone history up to the size of golf balls with it. Corey reported that earlier when it was still off to the north. So tornado warning goes all the way down, farther off to the south, basically into Caddo County for the most part, but also it's going to graze far eastern parts of Custer, Ouachita counties. So if you're in those areas, be weather aware as well. So we continue to watch that storm moving off to the south, developing tornado. Basically, it's going to go right down Highway 58 right here. So areas south of I-40, Highway 58, big-time tornado precautions right now as this continues moving right in your general direction. So Highway 58 is right there. You can see the red and the green still off to the northwest of that location, but it's crossing I-40 as we speak. Let's go to Corey, then we'll take a look at...
Yeah, this is going to be right on top of I-40 now, just on the west side of Hinton. I kind of zoomed in there, Aaron. There's some scud that's floating around there in front and being pulled in, but it looked like we may have had a little cone that tried to dip out of there right in the center of the screen. But the scud there is being pulled left to right in front of it, and it's kind of wrapping around the east, or I'm sorry, the right side of the lowering that we were talking about earlier has almost completely gusted out. And it looks like it's trying to form a new lowering there on the right in the center of the screen, which would be the left side of what we were talking about earlier. If I zoom out here, you can see all the hail and the heavy rain getting ready to move into the hydro area. So this is definitely going to stay just west of hydro, and it's crossing I-40 right now.
Now, if you look at it long enough or hard enough, you can see these little tiny clouds right here. They're moving into the storm, which is rotating. The entire supercell is rotating. So Corey's kind of moving the camera around, and you're seeing these little lowerings, these little things that are sticking out of it. And you can see the traffic right here, I-40. So that's the circulation. It's not touching the ground. There's no tornado in contact with the ground right now. But again, we're watching this circulation that continues long enough to give us concern about tornadic activity. Again, right between Hydro and Weatherford. Let's go to our Weatherford camera, if we can dial that up here. So this is at the Stafford Air and Space Museum. This is looking basically right off to the east. So here's the runway. This is in Weatherford, looking off to the east. So you can see the low cloud deck right here. You can see what's likely some rain and some hail and the rain-free base. So this is actually I-40. Occasionally you can see some cars and trucks here to the right-hand side of the screen. So that's I-40. This is looking right into that circle.
Steve, you still North Edmond?
Stafford Air and Space Museum. Let's take it back here to Links 1. I want to show you other storms in the state.
Thank you.
Again with Steve Johnson. So again, tornado warning continues. It's now south of Hydro. The most intense circulation is now south of Hydro, and it's likely going to miss Weatherford. There's some rural areas of Weatherford where people live. To the east of it, still take your tornado precautions as this continues moving off slowly, about 10 to 15 miles per hour out of the to the south. Actually, let's go back to Corey's stream. I want to take a look at that here. It looks like things have changed just a little bit here, literally since we talked to you about a minute ago. Corey, go ahead.
Yeah, we're starting to get that little bowl feature again right there in the center, and that was going to be what I was talking about just a few minutes ago. The left side had taken over, and the right side had completely gusted out. So you can see the motion in the clouds there, Aaron. There's some pretty good rotation there at the cloud base, and if I look up, the rotation even higher up is faster than what we've got going on here at the cloud base. So it's just hanging out right now. It's right over, maybe just on the north side of I-40, and still to the west of Hydro. It hasn't moved hardly at all here in the last few minutes, Aaron.
We're looking at. So Corey's right on top of this. The storm is not moving much at all. And Corey's going to zoom in here, so there'll be just a couple seconds delay. It's right near I-40, near Hydro. Tornado precautions in Hydro, east of Weatherford and southeast of Weatherford. Corey, we're seeing a little movement on the trees. It's hard to tell what direction the wind is going. Is there wind feeding into the storm? He's zooming in right now, so we're seeing that.
Yeah, the winds right now, Aaron, are about 15 to 20, and I'm starting to take $50 to golf ball size hail here, so I'm gonna have to bail out and get to the south, Aaron. So $50 golf ball size hail at the intersection of I-40 and 58, just south of Hydro. So let me reposition here, and I'll get you another shot.
Side of his stream as he's kind of pulling away. It was darker, it's lighter right here, so that's the updraft. So it's now moving. And let's go to links. And the last couple scans here, it looks like it's accelerating just a little bit more off to the south. Okay.
Thank you.
In here. So now it looks like it's completely south of I-40, and it kind of had to recycle with itself, kind of recirculate with itself. Now the circulation is about 2 miles south of I-40, south of Hydro. He's right here at I-40 and Highway 58 reporting up to golf ball size hail, $50 to golf ball size hail. And now the circulation is just about 1.5 miles due southwest of Highway 58 and I-40, which is south of Hydro, and it's moving almost due south right here. So put a track on that for the circulation for the tornado warning here. So here it is, just south of I-40, not moving that fast at all. Literally just about 10 miles per hour. So this is mostly rural area. Sickles, 919, not sure why it's saying exactly that. It's basically right on top of you right now. So ignore that time. It's not 919 if you're in Sickles. Basically on top of you right now. So we'll try to draw that again here. So again, circulation just south of Hydro, moving up to the south about 10 to 15 miles per hour. So again, pulled together, 857 Eakley, and over toward areas up to the south of that here, Swan Lake, by about 9:15 to 9:20. That's how slow this is moving. But when I take it seriously, sometimes these can and do accelerate a little bit faster. So that storm right there, severe thunderstorm warning off to the areas north and east of that main tornadic circulation. So I want to show you again more thunderstorms that are going up out to the west of this. So we'll go back to velocity. So these are not severe, but they're close. So expect some hail in Clinton. These are still moving very slow. Flooding rains, very possible. This is going to be approaching I-40 in Clinton right now. Floss is just to the north of you. Other storms that are not quite severe, but they're close. That's going to be Cordell and over toward Cloud Chief right now. Then we go a little bit farther off to the north. These have, they kind of went up really fast. They exploded just off to the east of Enid, near Breckenridge and Garber, Covington. They have not really done too much, though. So they're just kind of holding steady. But this is an area that a lot of model guidance is saying will try to come up the next couple hours in severe intensity, possibly affecting the metro. Let's go to the North Metro. Steve Johnson's looking at it. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Aaron, I'm on I-35 northbound, just right by the south and looking at the storms that you're just talking about. You know, I've seen the cloud bases a couple of times as I'm driving. You know, nothing too crazy. Like you said, they went up really fast on radar, and they just kind of seem to be holding their own right now. Nothing too alarming about them just yet. But we're heading northbound on I-35 up here in Guthrie, and we'll keep an eye on them. Back to you.
Okay, appreciate that. So, tornado warning continues again. This is now moving south of Hydro. Steve Johnson here watching other storms that are going up. You can see the clouds from those. So those are in Garfield County, approaching northern parts of Lincoln County. By far the most severe storm that has a tornado warning with it is now passing south of I-40. It's going to miss Weatherford. So it's going to miss Weatherford, moving slowly, about 10 to 15 miles per hour. I want to look at the hail on this because we're getting some reports in here. Corey just confirmed that there were about golf balls falling from this. So here's the 1 hour hail. It does have a history of hail. Started in Thomas, where, again, Corey did have golf balls on the east side of Thomas. And you can see that hail is not going to be in the same place exactly as the tornadic circulation, but it's close. So it's really coming down in Hydro right now. Getting reports now, these are unconfirmed, but reports of tennis ball-sized hail near Hydro. Near Hydro, just getting reports of that. Corey Inman, go ahead. You were in the hail, and you had to kind of bail south.
Yeah, I've dropped just a couple of miles south of I-40. Excuse me, Aaron. And you can see there on the right side of the screen, that hail shaft is, that means business. We were taking golf balls at I-40 and 58 when we turned around. And, it wouldn't surprise me if there's larger than that going through Hydro and on top of I-40 right now. But you can see the new area circulation here. It's kind of dead center in the screen, just at the base. This whole thing looks like a spaceship. It's just, structurally, it's incredible. And the rising motion is right there almost dead center in the shot. That's where we've got the new area of rotation. The old meso, you can kind of see it hanging back there, just to the left of the hail shaft. That's what's left of the old mesocyclone, and this new one is taken over. And there's quite a bit of rising motion here. It's going to be maybe a half a mile to a mile to my northwest, Aaron.
You're south of I-40. Is that 58 you're on, Corey?
Yeah, I'm on 58, 3 miles south of I-40, Aaron.
Okay. I mean, gosh, guys, look at this. Look at the right-hand side of this thing. It just goes straight up. It goes straight up here, and it's spinning. The whole thing is spinning. You can see this really sharp cutoff right here. So here's the clouds behind it, the rain, the debris clouds, all that. I mean, it looks like an absolute spaceship right here. So this is going to be just south of Hydro. The developing tornadic part is going to be south of I-40, just barely, but the hail is going to be along I-40 near Hydro up to about Weatherford. If we can take the Weatherford camera, stand by Corey, let's take a look at that and see how that looks. So Weatherford, oh yeah, it's just gone completely dark. So this is a massive, just massive amount of hail coming down on I-40. This is from Weatherford, Stafford Air and Space Museum right here. This is looking at it from the opposite direction of Corey. This is looking at it from the west. So, I mean, you can see here, it's hard to see, it's so dark, but there is the hail and rain. So there it is, crossing I-40. There's the backside starting to let up near Hydro. It's not let up yet. Hydro, stay away from windows. Lots of big hail that can bounce and be wind-driven through windows. That's a scary situation right there, I-40 between Hydro and Weatherford. Let's go back to Corey.
Yeah, Aaron, I just panned the camera up straight up for you, and you can see, like you said, this thing just goes straight up. The presentation's incredible. There is that lowering that's tried to develop back there in the rain, but the main area of rotation still continues to be just to the right of the rain shaft that's formed there. We're starting to take a little bit of hail here 3 miles south of 40, so just kind of creeping along with it. That one that hit the road, Aaron, that's probably tennis balls. So we're going to bail south here and just kind of keep moving along with it. It's moving about 5-10 miles an hour, almost due south. So as long as we can stay just ahead of this hail quarter, we'll be right here with it.
So you're estimating that's tennis ball size hail right there. I know you're trying to drive out of it, but real quick, that's you just think.
Yeah, the one that splattered in the highway there in front of us was that was every bit of a tennis ball, maybe even a little bit larger.
Hail right there. Tennis ball size hail. Corey's getting out of the way. We're keeping you forewarned here. This is a very, very prolific supercell for hail, and it has, here's the rain, and you see the rain-free base just off to the left of that, where we have air moving upward into it. It's all spinning, so there's a lot of rotation, and it's not too far from the ground. You don't see too much daylight coming in between right here, and Corey is really close to it. Really sharp back edge on this, and he's reporting tennis ball-sized hail now. It's moving across I-40. It's moving basically parallel to Highway 58. This thing is moving almost due south right now, just off to the west of 58 by a little bit, but not much. Continues moving through Caddo County, off to the south, and areas off to the south of I-40 between Hydro and Weatherford. Tornado precautions right now. Want to take a look here back at links. Let's look at the velocity on this here. So this is the radar presentation. You can see here, that's the hail core right through Hydro, unfortunately. The hail core with tennis balls went right through Hydro.
Steve Johnson, if you can hear me, we lost your shot. I do not have your shot.
Just a little bit, but there's Hydro. Still some hail. Here's I-40, Highway 58. It's going right down Highway 58 as far as the big hail is concerned. So all that pink, that is tennis ball-sized hail that's now moving through this. So in addition to the tornado threat, we have the very large hail threat as well. So Corey's moving down 58 right now to stay ahead of the hail. As far as the velocity signatures on this, so we are seeing, again, rotation here. That's why we have the tornado warning. So here's the rotation. Just west of Highway 58, kind of paralleling 58. So that's exactly what he's looking at, right into this thing. So Hydro, at least the tornado concern is coming down for you. The hail concern remains. As for Weatherford, the worst of it is passing off to the east and southeast. We'll check in with the Weatherford camera here. That should be looking right at it. It's a really, really dark screen. Oh, yeah. So, wow, look at that. So this is looking at it from the west. Looking at it from the west. I'm going to move this camera around just a little bit here. Look at that. I don't know if that's a hail core or heavy rain. That looks like it might be a hail shaft right there. As we kind of zoom this in here, I'm going to play with the brightness a little bit. Yeah, that is, wow, that's massive.
I got out of there before I got too many of them.
Look at that. Look at the presentation on that. That is
probably
incredible.
the heck out of everybody on I-40.
No doubt.
Yeah, control room. I don't know if we can make sure we roll on this, or maybe ask the desk if we can roll on this, make sure we are. That is really, really big hail. It's tennis ball sized hail that is crossing off to the east of Weatherford, but not by much. It's moving across I-40. There's cars and trucks on there that are having to navigate this, and hopefully they're out of the way. Hopefully they have the warning. This is huge hail just dumping out of the cloud right here, out of the supercell. I-40 and Highway 58 moving off to the south. There's a tornado warning with it. So developing tornado with it. Also tennis ball-sized hail confirmed by Corey Inman. There's other chasers in the field that have confirmed this too. This is a mean storm as far as hail is concerned. Weatherford camera looking off to the south and east at it. That is a massive, massive hail core right there. Let's come back here to links, take a look at it here. This is what we're seeing as far as the rotation. Last couple scans, it might have come down a little bit. We're not seeing the greens and the reds quite as bright, not quite right next to each other. So that might have come down just a little bit. Kind of looking at the lightning counter, that's kind of staying with it. It's about, kind of isolate the storm here. So right behind me is the lightning counter. So you're seeing about 60 to 70 lightning strikes. It's about even. It's kind of mellow there, about the same. Not a huge lightning producer, but the lightning rate tells us how healthy the storm is. So we're watching that very carefully. Here's the radar presentation. Just huge hail. We're seeing that hail core, as you saw from the Weatherford camera. Might be cutting off the circulation a little bit. You can see a notch right here, but now it's not so notchy, so that could be good as far as tornado potential. But yeah, it's moving right down Highway 58. Let's go back to Corey Inman. Wow, we just showed folks on our Weatherford camera. You're looking at it from...
Yeah, Aaron, I'm 6 south of Hydro on 58 here. You're looking back to the northwest, and I tried to zoom out, and I tried to get the whole mesocyclone in the picture, and it's so large I can't do it. But you can see the striations in it, how it just wraps around and it goes straight up. The area rotation is going to be right here. You can see the hail shaft off to the right, and we did have tennis ball size hail just a couple of miles to the north here. And then you've got the rain shaft that's kind of developed out in front of it. And all of the rising motion is right there between the two in that little clear slot. It's not very big, but that's where it continues to focus. So there's still quite a bit of spin there, and like I said, there's some rising motion going on in there. So haven't had any funnels at all out of it, Aaron. Just quite a bit of rotation and some rising scud in there. But we're right here with it. It's just a mile or so off to my northwest, just to the west of 58.
Yeah, so yeah, Highway 58, north-south highway. And it's, this is south of I-40, 58. A lot of people use that. It's going to go right down it, and so is the hail core. So this is a big picture here. We're going to talk to Steve Johnson in a second. So we've got thunderstorms that are not quite severe, and they're not really
It didn't take all
moving.
these damn red dots very long to show up.
The big picture here. So the tornado warning continues for northern parts of Caddo
It didn't
County.
take these red dots very long to show up.
Washington County, kind of hugging the line right here near Clinton. These thunderstorms are not moving very quickly, but they are coming into Clinton. So if you're in Clinton, you're hearing the thunder and seeing the lightning. That is continuing to move towards
Steve still no Guthrie?
Again, we know it doesn't take long for these to come up to the side of the supercells. From Cordell to Cloud Chief, another storm that's almost severe. So Cloud Chief heads up for some big hail here, at least golf ball size, as it continues to increase, moving very slowly off to the south and southeast. And we were watching some thunderstorms, or we continue to watch them rather, in parts of Garfield County moving into Lincoln County. These haven't really helped.
I'm still northbound on I-35. I'm north of Guthrie right now, looking back off, and I'm getting nice trees right now. So, but I'm looking back off to my north and northwest as the storm's coming out of Garfield County. It looks like a good amount of rain coming down over there, and nothing really, sticks out as
They
anything
sent Steve
that,
up to this little guy.
overly concerned about at this point. But as you said, as time goes on, we'll see what these things do. But I just crossed into Payne County right now, and stick with it. Aaron, back to you.
Okay, appreciate that. So the tornado warning officially continues for 7 more minutes for northern parts of Caddo County. And this is an area that's not severe. So this is northern Oklahoma, but a lot of computer guidance is saying that this really fills in the next couple hours. North central Oklahoma and the central parts of the state. That's why Steve is right here. Our trackers are watching other areas too for the potential development of severe weather into the evening hours. So we're on right now with the tornado warning. So this again, let's go back to links. This again is north central Oklahoma. Here's Oklahoma City. So right now we are fine. We are clear. You're seeing lots of clouds out to the west and out to the north as you look there. And the tornado warning continues now. It's going to miss Hinton, although the hail, if you're in Hinton, look out for some hail. Biggest hail core is not going to go right overhead, but sometimes some of these stones can translate off to the east. So at least some quarters there toward Bridgeport. Big hail core is now moving down Highway 58. It has now moved south of Hydro and still seeing some circulation, some rotation in here. That's why we have the tornado warning. That's the red polygon, the red box that you see here. So here's the velocity. This tells us how winds are moving in the storm. So there we go. Go back to velocity. So it's now south of Hydro. It's about 6 or so miles south-southwest of Hydro, almost due south of Hydro. And the rotation, the circulation, is just off to the west of Highway 58. This is right in the middle of the tornado warning polygon, and it's only moving about 10 to 15 miles per hour. It's moving very slowly. So folks that live south of Hydro along 58, eventually toward Eakley. Eakley, you're not in the tornado warning, you're not in the severe thunderstorm warning, but it does cut off just to the north of you. This is a big heads up because this will try to keep pushing off to the south. Let's go back to Corey Inman on this supercell storm that just has incredible texture and structure with it, and tennis ball size tail. Go ahead.
Yeah, Aaron, we're still sitting here. We are 6 south of Hydro on 58, and it's just back to our northwest here. Hasn't really moved that much at all since we spoke a few minutes ago, just kind of hanging out and creeping along there. You can see the hail shaft off to the right there, and the area of rotation almost dead center in the screen, just behind the power lines there. So the rotation's kind of broadened out from what we had a little bit earlier. But there's still quite a bit of movement in there, just not as tight, and we don't have as much upward motion with the scud that we had, 10, 15 minutes ago.
That report. So yeah, a little bit more broad rotation, a little bit less strength in the rotation. That is certainly good, but we still do have that tornado warning that's ongoing.
There we go. Let's
south
block
40.
up. Right
So again, northern parts of Caddo County not moving that much
Block
at
it
all.
up
North
right
western parts of Caddo County. It's going to be west central pretty soon. National Weather Service says, this warning goes for 4 more minutes. They're going to extend at least some type of a warning, be it severe thunderstorm, could be a tornado warning farther off to the south. So who's that going to be? Let's go to Links 1, take a look at it. Again, history of tennis ball size tail with this.
I may go west a mile and
it's
drop
easily going to be a severe thunderstorm warning that's going to go south to places like Eakley.
What's hanging back there
Up,
behind?
could go to Fort Cobb, could go to Carnegie. It's trending in that general direction off to the south.
That's what
But
it did
right now,
earlier.
the tornado warning does not include you. We'll update you the moment that is issued. But again, if you're south toward Eakley, Sickles, Eakley, this is your heads up. It's time to start wrapping things up, head inside, get the car covered, get away from windows, get ready for that tornado shelter, interior room, away from windows,
Where'd Jeff
put as
go?
many walls between you and outside as you can in these areas. Again, Sickles, Wakiva, Eakley, not in the tornado warning, but there's going to be some type of warning issued. Could be a tornado warning with the circulation that we have had with this. Corey hasn't said that anything's touched the ground. He's right under it, so we'd know the minute it does. But with the circulation that just persists with the supercell, it's got its own little environment here. That remains possible as this tracks just right along Highway 58 off to the south. Let's go to the Weatherford camera. Weatherford camera's looking at it from the backside. We're looking at just an incredible amount of large hail that was just being dropped out of this. It looks like it's happening again. So this is not a tornado, but this is large hail north of the circulation, just south of I-40. This is Weatherford looking off now to the south and east of Weatherford. So the largest hail has just crossed over I-40. It's now south of I-40 and moving down Highway 58. This is going to be up to tennis ball size hail, so this means big time business. This is from the western side of the storm. So you can see how dark it is, how tall these clouds are. Sunset is still about 30 to 35 minutes from now, so there's plenty of sun coming in the backside of this. So just look how dark that is. Let's come back to links here. Again, pretty mean supercell, big track of hail on it. So that's the velocity. It's not incredibly strong, but it's still fairly tight. It's tight enough that we want to pay close attention to it. And here's the radar presentation. The largest hail is going to be in the pink. So the hail is going to be just off to the east of the most intense circulation. Okay, so the most intense circulation, just about 2 miles west of Highway 58. It's now about 7 or 8 miles south of Hydro, and the big hail is now passing I-40, and that continues off to the south of 58. So, looks like we have a new tornado warning now. So we'll stop this. So here's the new tornado warning. So the old polygon right here. So you can see the old polygon. This is the new one right here. So that's been extended a little bit more. It's not really moved that much off to the south because this thing is only moving about 10 miles per hour. So just up to about Sickles. So if you're in Sickles, tornado warning precautions for you. Over toward Eakley and Colony. Colony, you're about in it. You're close enough. Tornado precautions there. And Eakley not in the extension of the polygon just because it's moving so slowly, but it is traveling in your general direction right now. Let's go back to Corey Inman here. Tornado warning extended.
Yeah, Aaron, we're still 6 miles south of Hydro here on 58, and the old circulation, you can't see it now, but it has completely blown out and has occluded north of the hail shaft there from the center to the right side of the screen, and we have a new circulation that's developed here almost due west of me. It's maybe a half a mile to my northwest. Like I said, I'm 6 miles to the south of Hydro right here on 58, and this the sign here says Reber's Corner, south of Hydro, and this is going to be almost due west of me. And we're starting to get that left to right motion that we had earlier. There's a little bit of rain trying to develop on the south side of the circulation, which may choke it off. But you can see the hail core still off to the north just a little bit, and then this new circulation here, almost due west of me, 6 miles south of Hydro.
Like that hail core, of course, the intense, the rotation's not particularly intense, but it's enough that we're still concerned about tornado development with this storm. So there it is from Corey's shot. You can see it clearly right there. So, continued tornado precautions for west central.
And where are you at?
Sunny areas south of Hydro, south of I-40, and south and east of Weatherford. If that's where you live or you're near there, tornado precautions right now. So here's the new tornado warning polygon. The other one is expired, just says 30 seconds.
Can you beat that?
Go to max 3. I want to show you how this looks on satellite because it's just absolutely blooming and billowing up here. You can see that. Still plenty of light for the...
I'm sorry, it's cutting out real bad. Where are you?
That's incredible. As Corey was talking about, other thunderstorms off to the west that are near Clinton, they're trying to get ingested into this. So we'll see if that tries to disrupt the...
Did you say near Mustang?
We hope that continues.
Yeah.
And also...
Okay, thank you.
In north central Oklahoma, just south and east of Enid. But here it is. So near Clinton, Weatherford, it's now passed off to the south. That's the visible satellite imagery. That's the only warning that we have right now. And it is a tornado warning. That's the only warning we have. Thunderstorms off to the west are not severe, but they're close. So expecting up to quarter-size hail with those strong thunderstorms. So here they are, just in the west sides of Clinton, between Foss and Clinton right there, strong thunderstorm. Another one near Corn and just off to the south of Corn, off to the east of Cordell. So that's going to try to hopefully get in the way of this supercell that we have approaching Eakley right now. It's moving about 10 miles an hour. Hopefully these debris storms off to the west try to get in the way and disrupt that, because here's the hail core. Tennis ball sized hail history right in Hydro, moving down Highway 58. You can see the hail core is basically right down Highway 58. There's not much leeway. And here's the velocity. It's still strong velocity, still bright green, still dark red, but they're not touching as close as they were, so it might have broadened up a little bit. I mean, the whole supercell, the whole storm that you see is rotating. That has not changed. Might have broadened up just a little tiny bit. It's still very concerning for the potential of tornadic development. It's very humid out here. That lowers the cloud base automatically. That does help tornadogenesis become a little bit more possible. Let's go to the Weatherford camera. So now Weatherford camera is looking off to the southeast right at this. It's actually looking from the back side or from the west side. And yeah, wow, you can see that. You can see there's a hail core and it looks like a lowering. Actually, this camera, let me move that camera around a little bit. This camera is getting a pretty good shot into the back side. And wow, this is, you'll see this here as I adjust this. So this is either a hail core or blowing gust. It might be blowing gust. Rear flank downdraft here. I think that's blowing gust. I'm going to zoom into that. So we're looking off to the southeast. It's now moved past I-40. That's intense blowing gust right there. This is from our disaster blowing dust is just across I-40, but not by much. That's wrapping into the back side of it. So that's what we're seeing on velocity data right there. It's picking up dust, blowing it. We're going to kind of try to turn the brightness down a little bit. It's going to flicker for you for a second. You're going to get a good look at this blowing dust. Look at that, being picked up into the air right now live from our Weatherford camera. This is off to the south and east of Weatherford. These are strong winds picking up dust right here, lofting it up into the air on the backside of the storm. And that's concerning because that's showing us that the velocity in the backside is definitely there. Might be a little downdraft situation from the rain-cooled air on the backside, but it's picking up the dust and it's blowing it quite efficiently away from Weatherford, now south of I-40. So that's blowing dust being lofted up into the air. Along with that, the hail concerns continue. So we'll zoom this back out. There's a little bit of a lowering. You can see the dust being picked up all the way into the sky here. I'm going to pull the view back. This is south and east of Weatherford. If you're in Weatherford, the most intense part of the storm has now passed you. So that's good for folks in Weatherford, but that is a lot of air moving into the rain-free base of the storm here, okay? So here's the rain-free base. Here's the air moving up into it, the dust blowing into it, kind of curving around. Here's the hail, south of I-40, Highway 58. Let's go to Corey Inman. Corey, go ahead.
Yeah, Aaron, we're having to reposition to the south here again. The rain and the hail started to move in on us there. So we're going to be, this will put us about 8 miles to the south of Hydro. And you can see the new area of circulation. You were talking about the blowing dust there. From this side, it almost looks like it's a rain shaft that's developed. I don't know if you've got a better look at it from the backside there or not to determine if that's dust or not. But that should be right there, just in the center of the screen. And then the area of circulation just off to the right. So you can see there's the sun starting to lower back behind there. So there's a lot of clean air there for it. I'm going to pan the camera, and you can see just all the hail and the heavy rain that's coming straight south down 58 here. And again, we've still got the almost perfect structure of the mesocyclone here. It's as curved as it can be, and it goes almost straight up. So we're going to be 8.5 miles south of Hydro here on the highway. Let me get pulled over and I'll get you a better shot back here.
We were talking about the velocity is not right next to each other like they were, but there's still real intense circulation. That's Corey's going to kind of readjust. We've got a shot at it from the Weatherford camera, and it's not often when you're chasing storms or tracking them that you get the best view from the north and west, but that's actually what's happening right now. Corey's going to get into a great position. So this storm, again, it continues to be a tornado warning, south of Hydro by about 8 miles for the circulation. Here's the rain-free base. This is blowing dust right here, and here's the supercell, so all the air is going up into it. So we're actually viewing this from both sides. There's Corey on the left-hand side of your screen. He's right underneath the meso, so underneath the spinning part of the supercell right there. And we're also looking at it from the Weatherford camera off to the north and west of the storm, watching blowing dust. And Corey's talking about that. It kind of looks like it might be a rain shaft. There's, of course, rain in here. There's the rain-free cloud base that you can see. And there's Corey's shot. That's the same thing. So this blowing dust right there and that precip, so blowing dust into the ground. This is heavy precip right here. It's being ingested up into the storm. Corey's seeing that from his angle, too. And look at all the sun coming up from underneath it. That's amazing definition. Let's go to Corey. Wow, look at that. You got the sun illuminating the bottom part of that.
Yeah, you can see there, Aaron, on the right side of the screen, it almost looks like it's trying to cycle again. It looked like the lowering kind of blew out. Now we may be getting a larger lowering try to form here. But now that we're south of that, you're 100% right. That's dust that's being lifted up in there. That's not a rain shaft. From the east side of it, it looked like it might have been a rain shaft that developed there for a few minutes, but it's not. It's definitely dust being pulled in there. So this thing is definitely cycling. It looks like we're going to have a bigger, beefier lowering here, just to you can see it right above the sign there for the church. So and there's quite a bit of rising motion on the right side of that new lowering. There's not a lot of left to right at the cloud base, but there is quite a bit of rising motion on the right side of it. So just going through a cycling phase here, Aaron. If anything happens, we're right here. Back to you.
Cap right there. So that was blowing dust. It was a storm cycling, blew that dust out. Those are winds about 60, 65 miles per hour that we brought to you live So now it's recycling. Here's the new rising motion. So there's the sign he's talking about. We also have other thunderstorms that briefly tried to go up off to the east of Enid. Now they're trying again. This is northeastern parts of Kingfisher County, western parts of Logan County, and central and eastern parts of Garfield County. So Steve Johnson's watching these in the Forewarn Interceptor, and this is what's trying to become our next area of severe concern. It's not severe now, it's far from it, but we are seeing rapid storm development now south of Enid, and then about Covington, and then into central parts of Logan County near Guthrie. Steve, the storms are small, but they're taking off. Go ahead.
Yeah, Aaron, I'm sitting here just west of I-35 on Mulholland Road, and just watching those storms. You know, on radar, I've seen them go up, go down, go back up. They're kind of in the upstage right now. I'm starting to get a little bit of light rain right where I am right now. I'm looking off to my north and my northwest, just back at those storms, getting ready to come in this way. And again, nothing ominous about them yet, but definitely worth keeping an eye on. Aaron, back to you.
Okay, appreciate that. Let's go to Max 3 here. We'll check back with Corey in just a moment here. But this is, you can see the explosive development from satellite. These just keep going right here. That's a storm that crossed over Hydro, now south of I-40. We'll check in with Corey in just a couple moments away. So here's the storm that Steve is watching coming into western Logan County, Garfield County. These are trying to fire up again. Other storms not severe near the Clinton area. So these will be rolling in areas off to this is more so toward Foss. The Clinton storm's falling apart. Foss burdens flat, winds 40 miles per hour. Some nickel-sized hail with this. Also off to the east of Cordell. It's going to be north of Mountain View. That is slowly moving at about 10 miles per hour. And here's obviously the strongest storm of the entire state. Tornado warning continues on it. So there's the hail core. We've had confirmed tennis balls. Those are all these little markers right here. Confirmed reports of $50 to tennis ball sized hail. And there's the circulation. It's basically pacing Highway 58 south of I-40 by about 8 to 10 miles south of I-40. It's a few miles west of Highway 58, moving from north to south. So it's moving just off to the west of Highway 58. Let's go back to Corey Inman. Looks like that area that we're watching is getting a little bit lower.
Yeah, it's definitely getting lower, Aaron, and there's still quite a bit of rising motion on the right side of it. We don't have the left to right motion at the base. All indications are that that should be producing a tornado, but for whatever reason we just don't have the left to right motion at the cloud base. Our surface winds here out ahead of it are out of the southeast at about 20 to 25, so it's got plenty of inflow to work with. And it's still, we're still in the 80s and the dew points are up in the 70s. So the conditions continue to be favorable. It's just missing that one ingredient that, for whatever reason, it just hasn't been able to produce a tornado. And it looks like this lowering is going to go ahead and gust out again. So we may have a new lowering that tries to develop here once this thing completely blows out, Aaron. We are 8 miles to the northeast of Colony, looking back just to the northwest.
At it, just a mile or so off to the west of Highway 58, plenty far south of I-40 right now. Still some heavy rain and hail near Hydro to be concerned about for folks traveling on I-40, and any points off to the south of that, big concern. Let's go back here to Lynx 1, and here's the storm. The tornado warning does continue. That's why we're in continuous coverage right now. The good thing I can tell you is that the storm itself, we'll kind of zoom in here, the lightning strikes are about the same. See right here, 84, not really coming up, not coming down. So it's holding its own as far as that's concerned. However, the velocity, go ahead and take a look at that. This is the spin inside of it, mid to low level spin. It's not particularly strong, and the reds and the greens, they're close, but they're not just touching and meeting up. You really look for a bright green touching a bright red for tornado genesis, and we don't have that right now, but it's still concerning. Okay, so here's Colony. So Corey's talking about this being about 8 miles off to the north.
Aaron, what's your location?
There's a new scan. So it has it, again, continuing almost due south. Maybe that last scan a tiny jog to the east, maybe just a little bit. But for folks in Colony, tornado warning thanks to you for tornado precautions. It's more likely to go due south or maybe a little bit east, but we still want folks in Colony to be safe as this continues moving off to the south. Areas also, Sickles, tornado warning right up to you. So we're watching that. Big history of hail, big time history of hail with this. Other storms out to the west, not much rotation, a little bit here near Foss. So there's Foss, A little bit of rotation out to your west, so some hail concerns with that. And over toward Cloud Chief, this area of spin here, not really strong. It's not even severe warned, okay? But this is off to the east of Cordell, approaching Cloud Chief. So this is the biggest storm in the state by far. Others are trying to develop in north central Oklahoma ahead of it, but there's the rotation does continue. So we do continue that tornado warning along with it. We'll continue to watch this here moving just about 10 miles per hour. It's just lazily moving off to the south. There's not a lot of big, huge steering winds for it. Other thunderstorms now continuing to go up. These are, you can see some more reds here. So this is north of Crescent. Here's Guthrie and over toward Wacomas and Bison. So here's Enid, Wacomas, Bison, Highway 81. Not severe, but these are coming up pretty quickly, and it's very humid out there. There's an environment for these. Let's go to the interceptor right now. So this is going to be a heads up for folks in Crescent, Cedar Valley. These thunderstorms kind of taking the same path off to the south and east, south-southeast. They're coming up quickly, Steve. They're not severe warned, but they're starting to really come up quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, Aaron, I'm dropping back south on I-35, back heading Guthrie, watching that storm over there in Crescent. I'm watching on radar, and like you said, it's coming up pretty quickly on the radar that I'm looking at as well. And so I got a little bit north and check out the storms that were coming out of Garfield County, coming into northern Logan County. I'm going to drop back south now for that storm that's approaching the Crescent area, and keep an eye on it.
Okay, yeah, appreciate that. These are all sharing kind of the same environment here. There's a lot of high dew points with this. So I kind of want to show you here our dew points and our temperatures. So we'll go to max 3. We'll go to max 3 for a second. And this is the environment that we're working with. So yes, we had a lot of clouds today. We had the morning rain, kept things under control.
Hey, control room, tell him to come to me.
And the humidity levels, they're of course very high. So dew points are high. Here's the dew point across the area. We'll kind of go back to that here. So lots of humidity, low to middle 70s. That's really, really thick air. Extends, here's Garfield County. There's Breckenridge east of Enid. Here is near the Crescent area, Guthrie, 70 to 72 dew point, 72 in Kingfisher. So that is plenty of humid air to work with. And future radar has these storms up here continuing to form, okay? So hopefully we see the storm in Caddo County go away. That's what this says. And then the focus turns into northern Oklahoma. This forms into a huge cluster, and then overnight comes south into the metro. So this is going to be kind of a long-haul event, but we've seen this storm kind of pop up out ahead of everything else. There's still a whole lot more on the way to go as we continue to watch this cycle through. So let's go to the Weatherford camera and take a look at that, then we'll go back to max 3. So here's the Weatherford camera looking at the back side of it, and there it goes, continuing to, again, move south. Here's more hail. Look at that hail core right here. Big hail core backside. Here's the rain-free base. We'll go to Corey Inman in just a second. He's up under it. Here's the hail core coming down. History of tennis ball-sized hail. And here you can see the broad view. There's the storms that Steve Johnson's watching in the interceptor. So west central Logan County, central Garfield County, just south of Enid near Bison and Wacomas. And then the storms out here, the tornado warning continues. Just a small tornado warning because it's not moving that fast. Eakly is not in the tornado warning, but take your tornado precautions because it is very near you. And there's the hail core right there, just barely moving off to the west of Highway 58. Here's Colony. It's about 7 miles off to your north-northeast right now. Let's go back to Corey Inman. There's the velocity.
Yeah, and you can see the old circulation that we have after you and I spoke last. It got completely stretched out and occluded off into the rain and the hail. And you can see, coming out of the rain and the hail shaft back towards the new circulation, what is left of the old circulation. And when it was being stretched and pulled there, that entire tube was rotating vertically, and part of it occluded off into the rain and the hail, and then we had the rest of it that just kind of wrapped around this new circulation that we've got here. So there's still quite a bit of rising motion at the base, and we're starting to get that left to right spin a little bit more than what we had a few minutes ago. So this is what it's done 2 or 3 times since back north of hydro. It just produces a big lowering, get a little bit of circulation, and it'll gust out and form a new one. So we haven't had any funnels or anything with it. But like I said, the rotation at the cloud base just in the last couple of minutes continues to increase, and our winds feeding into it are still running about 20 to 25. So It's not moving very much. We're still sitting here 8 miles to the northeast of Colony, and it's due northwest of us and hasn't moved hardly at all there.
You can see here in the stream, see all these tall grasses and weeds right here. That's the wind he's talking about kind of feeding into it. I went and looked at some model data here the next couple hours, what we call the low-level jet, a couple thousand feet up, not too high. That's going to start feeding into these storms more and more. So not only just this storm that we have right now, the tornado-warned storm in Caddo County, but also other storms that we're seeing already starting to pop up in northern parts of the state. It's going to feed into them, and it's going to energize them. So here's the tornado-warned storm, live view from Corey Inman Stream. Let's come back here to Links 1 and take a look at the broad picture here. So these are, again, not severe. So south of Perry, Guthrie, over toward Enid. These storms are trying to come together, and this is exactly what future data has been telling us, that north central Oklahoma is going to be the next spot here. So crescent storm, lightning forming right over you. It's going to move toward Guthrie, and then right up Highway 81, Wacomas, Bison, Enid, Hennessy area. So right over Enid right now. So thunderstorms are going up over Enid. So folks in central Garfield County, you're seeing some really heavy rain right now. There's going to be some lightning with this developing. There's Bison, so nothing right there. And then Hennessy, it's just off to your east. And the tornado-warned storm does continue. Again, Oklahoma City is dry right now, but that will change as we go into the overnight hours. Severe thunderstorm watch continues to be out. It goes to 11. Might have to be expanded there. But here's the one lone cell that's severe, tornado-warned. And actually, lightning rates have come up on this. So we've gone from about 85 to 119 over a 15-minute time span. So that tells us it is maintaining its strength and possibly even strengthening and cycling, just as Corey Inman was talking about here the last time we talked to him. So here's the velocity. Not out of control, certainly not, but it's in the same spot. It hasn't really moved. Here's Highway 58. It's just off to the west by about 2 miles. Here's Colony. So folks in Colony, this is about 6 to 7 miles off to your northeast, and it's moving almost due south. So folks in Colony, keep a real close heads up right here. You're right on the edge of the tornado warning, so tornado precautions there. Continues along Highway 58, town of Sickles. It's likely going to stay off to the west, but again, these circulate and they move and they change, they wobble, and we continue to see that possibility. Tornado warning does go for 10 more minutes with this if it's not extended. So big-time hail threat also as well with this. I want to show you the hail that's already fallen. We've had numerous reports of tennis ball-sized hail with this storm. So Corey Inman was confirming that. We've had other reports of tennis ball-sized hail. Here's the shear. So that's important to look at, too. You can see the shear is pretty high. And it has been since this thing started all the way off to the north, just east of Thomas. So this is where it was. It went right over Hydro, in between Weatherford and Hydro, and now the shear continues south of I-40 and south of Hydro. Here's the hail. The hail is going to be located just a little more to the east of the circulation. That's very common, okay? Very, very common right there. This is up to tennis ball-sized hail. It really maximized right near Hydro. So this is where the hail has been. Hydro areas off to the east, I-40, no doubt. There's a lot of cars that have gotten some damage out of this. And it continues off to the south here at only about 10 miles per hour. It's just absolutely crawling along, moving very slowly. So looks like we might be drawing up a new severe thunderstorm warning for this. That could be some improvement here. Again, Corey, we've seen at least the mid-level rotation either hang steady or slowly come down. Let's go back to you for an update here on the ground. You're right underneath it.
Yeah, Aaron, it almost looks like, you know, we've got some rotation directly above the street sign here that's in the center of the shot. There's a little bit of rotation there. What we had on the right side of the screen is gusted out again. It almost looks like maybe this right here above the street sign is trying to gust out as well. You know, there's not really, aside from directly above the street sign, there's not one localized area that I would say, you know, could produce a tornado. The rest of the circulations have been pretty broad. The rain and the hail continues just to the north of us. But this one area here is what we're watching now. You know, we were looking to see if the thing had shrunk just a little bit, and I still can't get the entire mesocyclone in the shot. So, you know, it may have shrank just a little bit, but not by much, because it's, you know, it still takes up more than the entire shot here. And I'll pan the camera up. You can tell just looking straight up, we don't have the straight edge feature that we had earlier, which is a good thing. But you know, it's once we think it tries to gust out, then we get a new lowering to form. So you know, we'll sit here with it and see what happens. You know, like I said, this area right above the street sign here is the area that's got our attention right now.
or lines, these horizontal lines, that is the storm's way of showing you how it's spinning in a counterclockwise fashion. There's been little attempts at funnels and tornado genesis, and then on the side it just goes straight up. It absolutely goes straight up into the sky. It's a very, very tall, well-developed circulation. It's a supercell, and it continues to stay with us here. With any luck, it might be shrinking just a little bit, and hopefully we go from more of a tornado threat to just a hail threat, because both the threats are there right now. We've got confirmed hail at tennis ball size, and again, we continue to see it either hold steady or slowly weaken. Let's go back to Lynx 1 here, take a look at it. So again, tornado warning for now continues for northern and western